A lot of people ask us about protein patties and pollen substitutes and stuff like that, and when to use them and how to use them. And a lot of people have different ideas about when they put them out for their bees and stuff. But I'm going to give you a breakdown of how we actually use protein supplements and pollen. We usually don't. As a matter of fact, this is only our second time using it. You'll have to excuse my rooster, it's that time of day. But anyway, back to the pollen substitute. When it's time to rear brood, bees need a lot of protein and a lot of enzymes and vitamin B and stuff like that to produce healthy offspring. Okay, so the time you're going to want to feed the pollen protein patties and stuff like that is late winter, early spring, when you're trying to get them to rear brood. This gives them all the nutrients they need and a little kickstart to do that. We usually don't feed, but we had a really bad goldenrod this last fall. The winter's been kind of odd. It's been in the 80s most of the time. Today we're in the 50s. But we should have pollen coming in from maple and elm here in the next couple of weeks. But we want to give them a jump start because I know that they're probably running low. They didn't really have much in the fall. So the bag here says 1.5 pounds per colony. The feeder holds, I think, 30 pounds. I filled it up about halfway. We have a little over 30 colonies, so I've given them half a pound per colony, basically. And we'll see what they do with that. Like I said, we're expecting the pollen flow to start here. We've already got some bees checking out the area. I've seen some come take off with some of the substitute already, heading back to the hives down there. So I bet by tomorrow this thing's going to be swarmed with bees, and they'll be taking it back to the hives and getting their brood reared for the year. Another time that I would really recommend it, if you need to feed a pollen substitute, that it would be an important time, is also in the fall. Bees need a good protein source in the fall to rear strong bees to get them through the winter time. But once the winter time hits, you really don't want them rearing any more broods, so you kind of want to control when you feed them this stuff, because this really can confuse the bees into thinking that it's the wrong time of year. Now that they have this source here, they're definitely going to start kicking off with the brood rearing and egg laying and stuff. So we really have to be on top of that. If a nectar flow doesn't shortly follow that and they've got a lot of population, we're going to seriously have to consider feeding them, which is not really something that we do. So if they rear too much brood or you do this too soon, you really could put your bees in some trouble. So it's important to try to time this at the right time. Usually about 2 weeks before your main pollen source kicks off in the springtime is when I suggest putting it out. That gives them a couple weeks head start, but not too much where you're getting a whole big population and you still got a good bit of winter left to go. So that's how we use it, and that's what we do. We bought a 50-pound bag. I filled the feeder about halfway. I think that we're about 2 weeks from our natural pollen here, so we'll see what happens with that.